Hello, welcome back to Morrison Heights Family Connect. This is episode 100 of Morrison Heights Family Connect. So we're doing something special this week. We thought about giving Tom the week off, but instead we're making him work extra. We are filming 5 missionaries and missionary families who are in town right now. The first of that set of 4 or 5 is Stuart and Ashley Robinson, who just got back from Seoul, South Korea as International Mission Board missionaries. Welcome, Stuart and Ashley.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad you guys are here. First things first, it appears y'all brought back an additional family member.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Tell us, what's going on?
Well, I'm 6 months pregnant, and Wyatt will be born November 19th or so.
Yeah, it's a boy.
He's
So
on
it's
time.
a boy, and he
Yeah.
already has a name, Wyatt.
Yes. Yes.
I like it.
Very
Named after any special Wyatt?
No, we just like the name.
Okay.
We both
But our
made
families
lists and
do
we chose
bring
the
it
name.
up.
I don't know of that many Wyatts that are like famous and worth naming your kids after, so that's probably all right.
We get asked about the cowboy a lot.
Yeah.
Sure.
My grandfather was like, "Oh, Wyatt Earp, the cowboy from the OK Corral," and I was like, "I have no idea what that is."
That's good.
We have since Googled him. So
You looked up Wyatt.
we
There you
did.
go.
Yeah.
I like you even more now that I know you don't know who Wyatt Earp is. So you guys were in Seoul, Korea with the IMB for what, 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about 2 years.
And almost the entire 2 years was COVID.
Yes.
What was that like?
Interesting.
Challenging, close knit.
Meaning close to each other because y'all couldn't hang out with anybody else?
Yeah, exactly. We were able to see people, but just because of the restrictions, we weren't able to do as much as we originally intended. So,
Now, when we had you guys on the podcast the first time, it was over a year ago,
yeah.
and you guys were pretty much in the apartment, could hardly go out.
Yep.
How long did that last?
Not too long. Korea never did an official lockdown. Like, we were never forced to stay in our apartment. But people tend to follow, like, they try to take care of each other, and it's group-minded. So people were choosing to stay home, and they were choosing to wear masks. But then, after a while, people got tired, and so they had to make mandates because no one was doing anything anymore.
Yep.
So even when we left, it was actually at the strictest we've seen.
Yes.
When we left, they had, ever since last December, it's been illegal to gather with more than 4 people at a time, like as a personal gathering. But all the stores are open. You can go out to eat. You can do what you want, basically. Except some things are closed, like nightclubs and things like that. But
Yep.
when we left after 6 p.m., only 2 people could be together, out somewhere. So that was extremely restrictive and it puts a cramp on your Bible studies and church gatherings.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what were y'all able to do ministry-wise while you were there? Was it just frustration?
We were able to actually, our team had started to plant a church, and so we were able to be a part of the process. We moved it from being a house church to actually, I met a cafe owner that was helping with my Korean, and our teammates asked her if we could use her and her husband's cafe for our church, and they were very excited about it because they were also fellow believers, and they actually let us do it without any rent, and we've been using it for a year and 6 months or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to do that, and then make a lot of really good friends, and have some really good spiritual conversations with those around us in our area.
Yeah. When you guys first came on the podcast, I remember that was a new thing. Y'all had just maybe met that cafe owner or just built that relationship.
Yeah.
So it went on for the entire time y'all were there after that.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's
That's
still
good.
going. They actually started right before we left. Our team has had a lot of goals for a long time to
Right.
start some meetups and ministry outreach, and because of COVID, we couldn't ever do them. But they managed to do a English and Korean conversation exchange hosted at the cafe.
Mhm.
So community members were coming, and they would have to pay a fee because Koreans don't want to do something for free. They
Right.
want it to be legitimate. And so we had native speakers, and they would pay a fee, and if they attended all the sessions throughout the summer, they could get their fee back. And that was going
Really?
well, but we need to ask our team how it's going with the restrictions because
Yeah.
it got harder after the restrictions got worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're still doing a lot with those people and the cafe owners, and we're able to meet a lot more people in the community.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a friend that was a police officer. I had a friend that worked at my bank. we would just try to meet people in our area and just form relationships, and it was great. Actually, the police officer, he's one of the people I met through the language exchange at the cafe. So, yeah, it's very successful.
So now that you guys are back, you're living in Clinton for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
When do you head to Texas?
January.
And you're planning on going to seminary, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So is the long-term goal to be missionaries as a career?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That is a long-term goal.
So you'll be, I assume, at Southwestern Seminary.
Yes.
Okay. Have y'all already started any classes there?
Not yet.
Will both of you take classes there?
I will start classes, but then after I finish classes, Ashley will start taking classes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, with the timing of the baby being born, we thought
Yes.
it'd be better if we do it one at a time
Maybe
instead
that
of
would be
both
better.
together.
I bet that's wise. Good. So what food do you guys miss from Korea?
I really miss naengmyeon and kalbitong. Naengmyeon is like, they have noodles, and they're cold actually. They're in a bowl of like cold water-ish, like some kind of broth, with like an egg and some meat and some vegetables and everything, and it's really delicious. And then kalbitong is a similar thing, except it's hot with some really good boiled beef and everything that you can just kind of like cut off the bone. I really miss that a lot.
Well, if you like cold spaghetti noodles, come to my
Cold
house
spaghetti
on a
noodles.
Saturday. I might be able to hook you up.
Yeah. I like a lot of the chicken dishes a lot.
Yes.
There's one called dak galbi, which is chicken, sweet potato, and some like Korean rice cakes, and a bunch of other vegetables as well, and that's really tasty. Yeah. And we miss kimchi.
Kimchi.
Yeah, I've always heard that's a Korean food. I have no idea what it is.
It was like a daily, well, like almost every meal we would eat kimchi, actually.
Really?
It's like a right to life. Every restaurant you go to, there's free kimchi.
Yes.
Huh.
Like salsa.
Like chips and salsa
Yeah,
at
like
a
chips and
Mexican
salsa.
restaurant.
Except they weren't free there.
Did you
in
miss
Korea.
Mexican food there?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You're going to
Mexican-
Texas soon.
Yes.
Yes.
Where are you going to eat? Do you know where to eat in Texas to get good Mexican food?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Y'all are
No.
going to get your dog. Where? Houston?
Yeah, in Houston.
Okay. Do you
Friday.
miss your dog? You ready to see
Yes.
the dog?
Yes.
Yes, we're there to
Will
see
your
your
dog remember you?
Of course.
Of course he will. Yeah.
Your dog's going to be excited. What's your dog's name?
His name is Changi.
Changi. Is that a Korean name?
Yes. We didn't actually pick it. We adopted him from a shelter, and they give the dogs little names.
Mhm.
No, most of them are cute little food names, like uyu, which is milk, or juice.
Wait, your dog is from Korea?
Yeah.
Yes.
We
How did you
adopted
get a
him
dog
there.
in Korea? They have dogs there? I'm just kidding.
Of course. Yeah.
No, I'm just surprised. Normally when
Uh-huh.
you're on the mission field, it's hard to arrange for a dog, but y'all made it work, huh?
We did a lot of asking around and asking if it's okay, and we researched how to bring him home and
Yeah.
decided it is not unreasonable, so we got him.
So you had to pay for the dog to be in a crate or
Yes.
a plane.
Hmm.
Yes.
And that's why he's a little separated from us right now, because in the summertime, the heat makes it difficult to transport them the normal ways. So,
Yep.
Wow.
anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, then he will remember you because I was imagining it's been 2 years since you've seen your dog. But no,
Oh, no.
this is your dog from Korea. Okay.
Yeah, he's immigrating.
Yeah.
One of our Korean friends said he'd be a first-generation
Yes.
immigrant.
He's going to
so.
become an American. We will make him a passport.
Okay, well, we're excited to have you guys back. So excited for Wyatt, new baby coming soon. Glad to have a few months to share with you guys before you go to Texas. So people will see you, want to say hey and everything. Y'all are staying at the mission house for a while. But I will tell people, Stuart and Ashley haven't been exposed a lot to COVID because of just the precaution there in Korea. And Ashley is expecting, and Stuart has health issues that prevented him from even going on his honeymoon.
That is
That's
So-
true. Yeah.
So people will want to say hey and everything, but I'll just kind of tell people, you don't have to go up and give them a big sloppy hug. You can just,
Yes.
you can say hey. But it's so good to see you guys. Hope that your stay in Clinton is great and that Texas treats you very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's it. We're going to have several people on the podcast this week, and so you guys are the first, so we're not closing except with one fun fact. People don't know this about Ashley, but she has 3 sisters, right? 3
Oh,
sisters?
yes,
One of which lives in a little town called Clovis, New Mexico, and her sister's husband is a pastor, and my brother goes to their church. So, small world. We just discovered that fact a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But that's a connection with the Bullard family, because that's Ashley's maiden name, Bullard.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell your sister I said hey. Tell her to tell my brother hey.
I will. I think they'll see each other in Sunday school or something.
Probably so. Okay, well that's it for the first segment. We'll hear from more missionaries next. All right, here's our next guest on this week's episode 100 of Morrison Heights Family Connect. She is the daughter of JJ and Alicia Dunn. Mm-hmm. She has four siblings that have come through Morrison Heights. She's my birthday buddy. This is Megan Dunn. Welcome.
Thanks.
And you have been serving in Central Asia and going to school at Midwestern in Kansas City.
Yes.
And part of their fusion programs.
Yes,
so
sir.
we want to hear about that. Okay. But first I'll explain what birthday buddy means.
Okay.
We have the same birthday.
Yeah.
July 25th.
Yes, we do.
I recently got a little older. You don't look a day over the last age you were.
Yeah, I get that a lot. You're like 15. Yeah, so Fusion is a program that is designed to release biblical adults committed to a lifetime of making disciples. That's kind of like their motto. And so we do 2 semesters of training in Kansas City, Missouri, which means we do like a security training, a first aid survival training, transportation trainings, and then like we study language of the country we're going to. But at the same time, you're being life on life discipled by an advocate or a team leader. And so there's my team when I was a candidate, so my first year, there was 5 of us, and we all lived in a dorm room together. And so there was 4 candidates, so 4 first-year people, and then a team leader, and it was her 4th year. So she was, like, discipling us daily, and then you would have different classes that were, like, worldview, like, different classes about, like, world religions and things like that, so that when you go overseas, you're well-prepared. And then you're supposed to go overseas for 3 months, but because of COVID, we didn't go. But then this year, I went and served as an intern, which means you're working alongside the team leader. And we went to Central Asia, and we were able to serve there for 3 months this summer. And yeah. And at the same time of doing the Fusion program, you're getting an undergraduate degree. The first year you start with intercultural studies, and then after that you can add to or change or whatever. So at the moment I'm doing intercultural studies with business.
Okay. So there are lots of undergraduate students at Midwestern, what's the school called?
Spurgeon College.
Spurgeon College, that are not part of the Fusion program, I assume.
Not lots.
But there are some?
But there are some.
Okay.
Yes.
So how many are in the Fusion program?
It depends every year. I think this year there's 25 candidates, plus then advocates and interns. Okay. So.
Now Haley did this as well, right? Your sister
yes,
Haley?
She did.
Is she done, or is she still?
She's
in the
doing
program?
it again. So she was a team leader last year, and she's going to be a team leader this year as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So what did you do this summer in Central Asia?
Yeah, so a big part of our work there was we would do ethnography work, which is a really big word that just means you meet people and you find out where they're from. And so basically being a Southerner. And so you just talk to people and you would ask them, like, where are you from? Is your family from Central Asia? Are you from, like, somewhere different? You'd ask them, like, what's your, like, main religion, which was normally Islam. And then you would try to get to the gospel. And then every night we had reports that we would fill out of, like, this is who we met, this is where we're from. And we would send them to the long-term workers and our supervisors there so that they know, like, this area of town has these people because we're in a really big city.
So they may use that for church planning strategy, for decisions on who to bring in based on what religions or ethnicities they have experience with.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have to do language work where you were?
Yes.
So did you prepare for that ahead of time? Was that part of Fusion training? You did language training and then you got...
Yes, sir. We were prepared for that, but we were kind of banking on we're going to a bigger city. It's more Western. They'll speak English. They don't speak English. So, yeah.
So what language did you have to learn? Can you tell us that?
It's just the local language.
The local language.
So. It just kind of gives it away.
Well, I imagine that was a real challenge.
Yeah.
Is that your second language? Have you studied additional languages besides English?
I've studied additional languages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. That gives you a little advantage. If you've learned one, it's a little bit easier to approach
it's
the
helpful.
next one. Okay. So you're going back to Midwestern now. You're going to
Yes,
be in
sir.
Kansas City this school year,
Mhm.
studying part of the Fusion program still.
Not in Fusion anymore.
You graduated.
Just yes, sir.
Done
I'm done with
Fusion,
that.
So now
I've
you
been
just
released.
got to do the boring school part.
Exactly.
Okay. No survival training for these.
Not this time.
These classes.
I know it's disappointing.
Is the survival training? Is it just a recruiting strategy? Do they just do that because kids are interested in it, or did like you use it? Did you ever have to jump out of a building and flee?
Well, we use it, but mostly just going through airports, especially because we go to a lot of like high risk countries.
So you got to learn
And so
what to say.
you have to
what
learn,
not
like,
to say.
I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm a missionary. So,
Uh-huh.
like, how do I be truthful to these people, but not put the long-term workers or myself in
Right.
danger?
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I was imagining you jumping out of buildings, learning how to parachute.
They do go a little crazy sometimes, but, like, it's not bad.
I mean, I would go for that.
Yeah,
So,
we're trained with Fort Sherman, who's trained the IMB workers that are
the
sent out.
military's training y'all?
Not really, the military.
I assume Fort Sherman was something military.
They used to be. There are a lot of, like, old policemen that do a security training now for the IMB, so
I bet that's fun.
it's great. It's my favorite training that we do.
Okay.
I think it's the most helpful.
What's been the most challenging part of the program for you?
Life on life discipleship. I am very prideful a lot of the time, and I don't like when people are like, hey, I think you've been sinning, because I'm like, no, but I normally am. So it's just been really challenging, but that's also like really like a sweet thing to build those relationships with people. But that's always kind of hard, of learning like how to be called out well, but also how to like call others out in sin at the same time.
So there's not only a high level of like training and Bible study and stuff. There's a high level of personal accountability.
Yeah, definitely.
Confession. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine you've grown a lot.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. So you're heading back. We know lots of folks up there at Midwestern. You know, Charles Smith,
Mhm.
Timothy Gatewood.
Mhm.
Do we know others up there? I mean, Haley, your sister.
I'm sure you do. Dr. Greg knows
He
everybody.
knows a lot. He knows a lot. Well, say hello to the folks that we know up there, and come back and visit us soon.
Yeah.
Anything else that we need to know about what you've been up to or what your plans are?
I don't think so. Just gonna finish school and maybe do the journeyman program in the future. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, good. When are you set to graduate? How many years do you have?
next December, so 3 semesters.
You got a year and a half left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting old.
Yes.
If you're a year and a half from graduating college, you must be getting old. Okay. Well, thank you for visiting with us today. It's great to
Yeah.
hear from you. Praying for you as you head back to Kansas City and wherever God takes you.
Yeah.
It's great to be a part of what God's doing in your life.
Thanks so much.
All right, my birthday buddy, Megan Dunn. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
No problem.
All right, next on this episode, we are with Scott and Casey Tumanello. Welcome, Scott and Casey.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the U.S. from, everybody wants to say Netherlands, but it wasn't Netherlands. It was Denmark.
Yes.
You guys have been in Copenhagen?
Yeah,
Is
we
that
were in
right?
Copenhagen for 4 years and 3 months.
4 years and 3 months.
Yeah.
Wow. So how long have you guys been back in the States now?
We've been back since early June. Or no, July.
July.
Yeah,
Early
1st of July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to catch up with you guys. The most catching up I've done so far was saw you at church Sunday morning and saw you in the car rider line Wednesday, the first day of school. So you have kids in Clinton schools this year?
We do. We have 3 daughters, Taylin, who is in the 8th grade. We have Lillian, who's in 5th grade, and Holland, who is in the 3rd grade. They're all in Clinton schools.
All right. Well, I found out last night that my wife kind of has Holland, her switch class. So the
That's
other
right.
teacher that my wife is partnered with
Yes.
has Holland.
That's correct.
So-
She tells me all about Miss Peabody every day.
Good, good. Excited about that. My 3rd grade teacher was also Miss Peabody. It was my mom.
That's interesting.
nice.
Okay.
School, but I just happened to have my mom for 3rd grade. so,
Perfect. How was that?
it was excellent. She was the best teacher I ever had.
Yeah.
So
Brownie points.
yeah. And she watches these episodes sometimes.
Perfect.
Good.
So you guys are staying here. Do you have future plans? Are you here on? They don't call it furlough anymore. What do they call it?
Stateside.
assignment.
Yeah, since assignment.
That's right.
So you're planning to go back. Do you know when?
Sometime at the end of May, we're going to let the girls do a full school year
Good.
here in the Clinton Public Schools, and then at the end of May next year, we'll head back to Copenhagen. That's the plan.
Okay, good. So often the IMB, for the first few years, you're a missionary apprentice technically. Is that the case? And are y'all going back as career missionaries, or are you already career missionaries?
That's the case. It's a little weird on the timing of those transitions, but yes, we've been apprentice missionaries, and now we're going back as career.
Okay.
We did 2 years before this assignment in Copenhagen, in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and we did a support role there. So I worked in the finance office for that time. Yep.
Okay. Now, is your career before missionary? Were you in finance?
Yeah, I was in logistics.
Logistics.
So
okay.
finance, logistics, so some blurred lines, but yeah, I worked at the Nissan plant in logistics for
Really?
almost 10 years. Yeah, before we felt the Lord leading us to do something different, and that ended up being overseas ministry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what did you study? You went to MC. We were at MC at the same time, although I don't know if we ever hung out.
Right. I studied business administration, so I have a business administration degree in Casey.
And I was in communications and public relations.
Yeah.
So many people at the church will remember that you worked in the church office,
That's right.
did our communications, roughly Tom Rowden's job. And you'll be happy to know Tom is doing almost as well as you in that position. He's getting really close to meeting your standards. So, yeah, most folks will remember you working in the church office, but it's been, I guess, over 4 years now.
That's right.
So glad to have a chance to catch up.
Yeah, thank you.
Big things on the to-do list, bucket list while you're here, while you got a year in the States?
Eat all the greasy food.
Is it hard to find fried food there?
Yeah, they eat really healthy over there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely hard to find good home cooking. But Casey does a good job at making stuff from scratch over there that we can really enjoy. So we're
All the
thankful for
fried
that.
foods we make at home.
Yeah.
Do you find that as people get saved and progress through sanctification, they make more fried food?
I think so.
Well, they end up at our house. We end up
Eating
with-
our
more.
fried food.
eating our fried food. We have a lot of visitors that come over, and we cook American food for them, and they love it.
They
don't
ask for American
They don't want to eat
food.
it every day.
Yeah.
because
Right.
of how much weight they'll gain, but they love the taste of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did your kids like about being there?
Denmark is a very safe country, so they could do there was a lot more independence for them. They could do a lot of things on their own. My 13-year-old can hop on her bike and ride to her friend's house. They can, meet up at the beach or walk around shops, and we don't worry about them as much there. They also love the riding bikes to get places.
Okay.
Copenhagen has great biking infrastructure, bike lanes, and lights specific to the bike lanes, and so it's just a safe place to ride bikes. And my kids love that aspect, riding to and from school and wherever we need to go.
That would be a lot of fun. And it's not something that I would imagine. I assume y'all were in a city, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that I typically associate with living in a city, right?
Yeah, there are more bikes than cars in Copenhagen. More people bike to work and whatever they need to do than they do drive cars. So.
Wow. Well, that's cool. How about things that they're hoping to do while they're here? Visiting grandparents, going anywhere in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think being with family has been very special to them. Just being able to be together and eat lunch on Sundays, or all the things that we did before we moved overseas. That's
Swimming.
been special.
Swimming in warmer weather.
Yes.
We're able to swim over there, but the water's freezing.
Yeah.
Normal Mississippians wouldn't want to swim in the water that's over in Copenhagen. So
Yeah.
they've been doing a lot of swimming and things like that. It's been fun.
Yep.
Well, I imagine it's a refreshing time for you guys, but I also imagine that in a way you're chomping at the bit to get back over there and continue the work that you do. What surprised you the most about your work there as missionaries? You'd been to Thailand before. What surprised you about Copenhagen?
I think one of the things that surprised to me the most, and probably both of us, it was just how much time it takes to really gain some respect, really, of people over there in Thailand and some other cultures in Asia and stuff like that. That the Westerner is kind of held up and respected, and they'll listen to you pretty much immediately when you start talking about things. But in a country like Denmark that's well educated, you really have to be the one to go in and listen before you can engage with them in difficult things, difficult conversations in the work that we were trying to do. So we really had to be really good listeners to be able to engage with the people group there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me, when we lived in Thailand, there were just a lot of needs, a lot of physical needs. And so we could meet those physical needs. We could provide food. We could help with a house. We could meet these needs, and then that leads into the gospel easily because people recognize that they have such needs in their life. Well, in Denmark, the government meets everyone's needs. Everyone has a job. They all make a salary. They all have a house. No one is starving. There's no physical needs to be met, and so the Danish people view themselves as they don't need anything. And so it's hard to get into the gospel and present you have this great need in your life for God when they view themselves as having no needs. So we really do have to get creative with the gospel, where in some of the countries that maybe have a poverty level or things like that, you don't have to do that as much. You can meet their needs, and then that just provides a natural way into the gospel.
So for a person who has all their physical needs met, what do you find was sometimes the thing that made them realize their need for Christ?
Everybody's going through something all the time, even in a culture that takes care of all your physical needs. There's always stress. There's always family issues. There's people to worry about their kids. And so, again, we became really good listeners. And whenever we would hear that something that somebody needed, we were able to speak truth into how we deal with some of those issues and how we see some of those issues based on a biblical perspective, and speak into that. And once we listen to them and hit their pains and their passions that they talk about, they were willing to listen to us when we spoke about the biblical principles that we live by.
Did you find a group of believers there to have fellowship with? Did you have a church there in Copenhagen that you could encourage?
Yeah, we did. It's not the picture of a large Southern Baptist church, but we were part of a small Baptist church that had some faithful believers that we were able to get together with and learn from and mutually build up. So we were super thankful for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it was a lot different than here.
A lot different, yeah.
Most recent church service I went to in Europe, I guess if you count England as Europe, the pastor showed up that morning, and we were kind of standing around the fellowship hall. And the way he was dressed and just carrying himself, the first thing that went through my head was, is that a homeless guy? Do I need to go, see what he needs? And then he preached. It was actually a great sermon. He preached a good sermon. But I thought, this is a big difference from what I'm used to at church.
Yeah, for sure. Our pastor has a beard down to here, and there's no air conditioning in the sanctuary, so for the summer months it's shorts and a t-shirt and his beard down to here, and sometimes a hat, and we just have a good time.
I see you're imitating him very well.
I'm trying, yeah. I had a fuller beard when we first got to the States, and the heat quickly removed it and made it a little bit shorter. Yeah, I
didn't realize we could adapt like that as humans. Huh, who knew?
Yeah.
Did you acquire gray over there, or is it coming back to the States?
I acquired gray with having 3 daughters, and they remind me of the gray pretty much daily. Holland, the one that's in your wife's class, one day looked at me and said, "Daddy, you have gray, you're about to die." I said, "Well, I hope not."
Yeah, I've been getting gray in mine, and it just is baffling because I'm not that old.
We think we're not that old.
I don't believe it. Thank you guys so much for catching up. We look forward to hanging out with you guys more and learning more about what you've been up to, and we're praying for you and your family. Any transition, especially a transition when you're in elementary or middle school, that's a challenge. So we're praying for you.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Yeah.
Anything else?
No, we appreciate Morrison Heights, and we're super happy to be back home for a little while and reconnect with everybody here. So we appreciate it.
We're glad you're here. Thanks for coming on the podcast this week.
Thank you.
That's it for this one. We'll hit one more missionary group next. Hey, we're back with the 4th segment of episode 100 of Morrison Heights Family Connect. We have 2 guests with us who are part of the college ministry and have been working all week with the college ministry at Jackson State University. It is Shelby and Courtney. Welcome, Shelby and Courtney. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Shelby, first, tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're in school, what you're studying.
Yes, I am from Hammond, Louisiana originally, and I am a junior at Mississippi College, and I'm studying biology pre-medicine.
Okay. And what has your job been this week at Jackson State?
My job has been, one of my spiritual strengths, I guess, is evangelism. So my job and our job together has been prayer walking around the campus and just meeting students and just engaging with them in that way.
Okay, good. Courtney, tell us about yourself.
I'm from Forest, Mississippi, and I go to Mississippi College. We're a sophomore this year, and I'm studying history.
Studying history. What's your favorite time period of history to study?
I don't really have a favorite time period, but I'm stuck on U.S.
You like the U.S. history,
Yes.
huh? Well, that's good. There's some interesting stuff there.
It
But
is.
compared to the rest of the world, our history doesn't go back that far.
It
We don't
does
know
not.
much about before the last few hundred years. So you're from Forest. Scott Fortenberry served a church in Forest.
Yes.
And let's see, Mariana Fountain came from Forest. She was a college student a few years back here at Morrison Heights. So we have a long tradition of good people coming out of Forest to Morrison Heights. So
Yes, sir.
how did you find Morrison Heights?
I actually, one Wednesday, I was getting ready to go to Pine Lake, and one of my friends was like, hey, I'm going to Morrison Heights, and he asked me if I wanted to join. I was like, sure, because I didn't want to go to church by myself, and ended up here, falling in love, and getting involved as much as I can.
Huh. What was it that made you fall in love with Morrison Heights?
The community,
Okay.
just so loving and welcome, and just genuinely caring about my life and trying to get to know me.
That's cool. Well, I know this about Drew and about our college ministry leaders. Good people that really care about people and really have a lot of passion for the Great Commission and making disciples of all nations. What was your job at JSU this week?
So I was the team leader for our prayer walking team, and so we were just basically going around praying over the campus. And anytime we met somebody, we would talk to them, try to connect with them, and invite them to our events that we've been having this week.
Right on. What events are you guys doing at JSU?
We did a Fiesta night Monday night, and we did it at Soul City, and then tonight we're doing a movie night.
All right. Did you have like tacos and stuff for the Fiesta night?
Yes, sir.
Fun. Good. You know, when I was college minister several years back, I was in the last year that I was in that position, I led a Bible study at JSU. Found out near the end of the year that we actually didn't have permission to be on campus. I thought we had. I'd asked somebody. Apparently, I hadn't asked the right person. So we kept meeting, just didn't invite people after that. But it was okay. It was a fun time. Good experience. Way outside of what I was used to having. Most of my college ministry experience was at MC, so it was a lot different being there.
It is.
So you guys also served this summer on mission. Tell me what you guys did this summer.
We went to New Orleans through the 111 program and with Ginsend, which is through the North American Mission Board.
So 111 is Morrison Heights program
Yeah,
for
yes.
sending college students out for
Right.
the summer. Ginsend is North American Mission
Yes.
Board.
Yes.
And that's who Isaac, I almost said Dabbs. Isaac Dabbs doesn't work with them. Isaac Woodward works with
Yes.
Yes.
Ginsend. So you guys worked with him down there?
We did.
Yeah.
He did a training with us, like one of our first days there, and we worked with his family a little bit while we was there too.
Okay. Man, that's cool.
Yes.
Last time I got down to New Orleans, I didn't see Isaac, but I ran into several people that knew him, and he's apparently doing really well down there.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
So what did you find, what was the experience like for you? You're from not far from New Orleans.
Yes, sir. I'm from about an hour north, so it wasn't far from home, but it's a totally different world than anything I've ever known. New Orleans, we used the saying beautiful but broken. There are a lot of very, very lost people in the city of New Orleans. And with it being
I met some of them.
Yes. With it being so close to home, it's really sobering. The entire thing's just realizing that while we know the love of Christ, like not everyone does. And realizing that everyone needs to know that love really fuels my passion for the Great Commission.
Yeah. How many weeks were you down there?
6.
6 weeks. That's a long time.
Not long enough.
Did you guys stay at the New Orleans Seminary campus?
No, we stayed at Loyola's campus.
At Loyola?
Their
Yes.
little law campus.
So that's like right down there in the middle of like
St.
New
Charles.
Orleans.
We
New Orleans.
stayed on the corner of St. Charles and Broadway.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
Very, very nice area.
Wow. What an experience that must have been.
Yes, sir. We worked in Tremé.
I don't know where that is.
It's
Right in front of the French Quarter.
yeah,
Right.
right.
in front of the French Quarter.
Yes. The I-10 bridge runs right through Tremé.
Wow.
So you pass over it, go into New Orleans.
Here's what I don't understand about the French Quarter. How are there so many groups of motorcycles and sometimes even four-wheelers going through the
Right.
French Quarter all the time? I don't get it.
We would have our free days and we would walk it, and we would just like randomly see a group coming by, and I'm like, what are they doing? Like, because they look like they're tourists and they're just riding for fun through the French Quarter. So I don't know.
I remember seeing guys on four-wheelers one time. I've never seen four-wheelers in a city. But they're riding wheelies all over the streets there.
Yeah.
Like,
They're coming
this?
to do that. We was in front of the seminary one time and we saw a group doing the same thing.
Right.
I don't get it. That's a head scratcher for me. Well, that's cool that you guys got to work down there, especially with Isaac and other folks that our church has a connection with. So I'm glad we get to hear a little bit about it. And you guys have more work to do this week, right?
We do.
Yes. We are working super hard to engage incoming students on both MG's campus and Hines and JSU's campus.
Right on.
Just trying to get them plugged into a good community.
Yeah, every day this week, there's been a bus here. When I pull in the parking lot at 8 o'clock, y'all are on your way out. And y'all have been working at, I guess, both of those campuses all day long. So.
We're finishing up the week at the two campuses. And then this weekend, we're going to start trying to reach out to MC's freshmen.
Right on. No rest for the weary.
Yes, sir.
Well, it was good to see college students in our worship service this last week, and I expect there will be even more this next week because not many people were back this Sunday, but the coming Sunday we'll see a lot of you guys.
Yes,
So.
this coming Sunday is the
enjoy
kickoff of our college ministry, I think.
Okay.
So we're going to have
Should have a lot of people
a
back.
lot of people.
Good. So people that want to come to that, they come at 9:30 to the college building.
To the
Is that
path,
what-
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So and then worship will be over here at 10:45. So. Well, good. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast. It was great to hear about what God's doing through you, and look forward to hearing about the rest of your time this week and next. So good work. It's a lot of effort to do all these activities around move-in time. And you have your own things, thinking about school and thinking about moving and all that stuff you got to do. So thanks for taking your time to do this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that is it for episode 100 of Morrison Heights Family Connect. It has been about a year and a half since we started this podcast, and it's been a great blessing to me. And I've just been very thankful for Tom. Tom Rowden has done so much work for it, but Paige Atkinson has done work on every single episode that most of the time doesn't even get noticed or mentioned because she writes the descriptions of the episodes. So if you see Paige, be sure and say thank you to her. We've had a lot of help from Dalton and Laura as well. So show some appreciation to them for just taking extra time to make something extra happen. It's been a good 100 episodes, and we'll be back next week. This is Morrison Heights Family Connect. We love our family.